At first glance, one might assume they're watching video filmed in some African jungle or maybe a special zoo for exotic birds. That assumption, however, would be wrong. In fact, I'm standing here in Madison County, and all these birds you hear and see, all 2,000 of them, an estimation, by the way, they belong to one individual. Meet Vince Hicks, a recent UGA grad who received his degree in avian biology. Vince's obsession, or as he puts it, addiction to birds, began at the tender young age of 4 when his dad bought him a couple of Rhode Island red chickens. At first, Vince's operation was small, but then, kind of like now, it grew at a rapid pace.
I think you got to be born with kind of a hoarding gene to begin with, but so I would save all the money off the eggs that I got, and buy feed, and then whatever I had left over, I would go through the Murray catalogs that they would send me, and I would try to pick out what types of chickens I was going to get, and then I'd order 25 more, and then after a couple years doing that, you got 15, 20 different types of chickens, and it kind of just went from there.
In fact, according to Vince, it was at the age of 16 when his passion for exotic birds really took flight. Now at 23, he works 4 jobs to support his spending habits. They include everything from taking care of rental properties to working directly with Dr. Adam Davis in UGA's Poultry Science Research Lab.
Being addicted to birds, you got a big feed bill, so you've got to be able to fund it. And it's like there's certain birds that, yeah, you could make good money on if you wanted to, but my problem is I'm trying to build the collection, so every time I hatch something, I'm trying to trade it with somebody to get something else I don't have. And if you're in this for money, you're probably not a very good hobby, because if you're addicted like I am, you're just buying more birds. It's never enough,
Rattle off the bird species that you have.
Oh Lord, I don't know. I've got multiple species of ducks, geese, swans, swamp hens, thick knees, lapwings, lots of pheasants, tinamou, francolins, a couple of parakeets, different types of hookbills, quail, partridge, just more. It goes on from there. So, there's a lot of birds that are just really flamboyant and beautiful that everybody likes, but I tend to like the birds that are more rare and nobody really keeps because there's not as many of them, and they're maybe not as pretty, but somebody needs to be breeding them or they're not going to be around. And then I have birds like the Victoria crown pigeon that one day I hope to have here, because they're just amazingly beautiful, but it's just so expensive at this point. To move up that ladder, you got to work at it every day, I guess. About every week, I'm headed somewhere to pick up some birds. Somebody will call and say that they're getting too old, or that maybe they just have birds for sale, and I'll have saved up a little money and I'll go buy. I got back from Tampa yesterday picking up birds. I've traveled out to Louisiana and pick up birds, and all over the Southeast. And if they're further, I'll get them shipped, unless it's a large quantity of birds, then I would drive and pick them up.
Even more impressive than his variety of birds are the cages in which they're housed in, each one hand-built personally by Vince and family members.
Well, my cousin Warren, he's been a big help. He's retired, and so in his off time, he even builds some pens without my help, and he'll come help me build aviaries, and we'll spend all day sometimes digging trenches to bury metal and putting wire up, and just it's actually a lot of fun when you have people that you like and help you with it.
Now, as far as that degree in avian biology, Vince admits it's going to be difficult putting it to good use because of his collection, something he'll explain here shortly. For now, though, Vince tells me he'll continue working those 4 jobs to support his habit. However, don't be surprised if you see him someday sporting a white coat and checking your vitals.
So it's kind of complicated, because with being an avian biology major, a lot of the people are going into the industry, and the biosecurity I've knocked myself out of about 90% of the jobs, because they don't want you having birds at home when you work in the industry a lot of the times. So I've always said I want to go to medical school, but recently Dr. Davis has talked me into getting my PhD if I can get into that. So I need a job that can support my addiction, because
So you say addiction,
Are you addicted to birds?
Oh, it's awful. It's beyond awful.
Do we need an intervention here or what?
I don't know. My dad always told me he guess it's better than drugs, and he used to complain about all the pens getting built in the yard, and you know he would say it looks like a junkyard, and then when somebody comes to look, you know he wants to show it off. So I think it's pretty interesting how people react. But yeah, it's an addiction. It's pretty awful, and I don't think it gets better. So.